What is meant by the terms death and dying? It is inconceivable that any person who has lived or will ever live has never experienced death or dying in some kind personal context. We have all lost close family members and friends, or we have supported somebody who has. Our definitions and perceptions of death and dying are inextricably linked to our spiritual and religious or lack of beliefs. In essence, from these perspectives, death or dying are seen in terms of the separation of the physical from the metaphysical soul it contains. From a purely scientific point of view, advances in medical technology, in particular those pertaining to palliative and/or hospice care, have made it even more difficult to establish when a person has died. In very broad and detached terms, all of our deaths can be broken down into three types. And bull. Deaths through violence against the person. This covers deaths due to murder and suicide, but also includes those avoidable deaths from poverty, conflict and preventable disease. And bull. Unintentional deaths. As the term suggests, this covers bodily injuries caused by vehicle and other accidents or those sustained in the workplace. And bull. Natural death. This covers death from old age and/or incurable disease. Old age and disease in human societies. Death from old age is a relatively new phenomenon. In medieval England, the average lifespan was between 30 and 35 years old. However, it is important to state that this figure is skewed by very high infant mortality rates. Another contributory factor, at least in high-income countries, to higher average lifespans is the development of better medicines and the implementation of public health programs over the last several hundred years. The trade-off is that on average in the industrialized world we are living longer, but are more likely to be killed by and bull. Degenerative conditions such as Alzheimer's disease, and bull. Coronary and pulmonary disease, and bull. Strokes and heart attacks, and bull. Cancer, of which there are over 200, and bull. Genetic conditions such as Huntington's disease. Death and oxygen. An individual and/or belief system can frame a definition of death and dying in a variety of ways. One point is, however, incontrovertible. Humans need to breathe in oxygen from the atmosphere. Every single breath we take contains molecules of oxygen gas that are transported around the body by the bloodstream and then passed to every single living cell. In the cell, respiration occurs, which enables oxygen to chemically combine with glucose, producing energy in the form of a carrier molecule called adenosine triphosphate, water and carbon dioxide, CO2. The CO2 is a waste product and is removed by gaseous exchange in the alveoli of the lungs and replaced by the next load of oxygen molecules. We take our first breath when we are born, and from then, by taking an average of 14 breaths per minute for the rest of our lives, we can provide every single living cell with the oxygen it needs to undertake aerobic respiration. In other words, and no matter what type of death we may experience, the dying process starts at the point where we can no longer independently get enough oxygen to all parts of the body as and when it is needed. For cognitive organisms such as human beings, the terms death and dying are associated with intense emotions and/or spiritual and religious questions. Although it is something that we generally never consciously think about or discuss for any more time than is necessary, death will happen to all of us. http://www.jwalwin.co.uk